all we've been hearing about over the last couple of weeks is hydroxychloroquine. What is this drug and where did it come from? Chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine are two drugs that have been used in the treatment of malaria for many years. And over the last few years, we've also been using it in some autoimmune conditions like lupus. Right now, people are talking about how these drugs might be a breakthrough in the treatment of COVID-19. And there are already a lot of YouTube videos talking about the mechanisms by which this drug might work. But the problem is, we don't even have enough evidence yet that these drugs actually work for COVID-19. It all started when some lab-based studies suggested that these drugs may have some antiviral effects against the 2019 novel coronavirus. Now, these studies were more or less done in a test tube and not in animals or humans. But one of these studies suggested that hydroxychloroquine might be more effective than chloroquine against SARS-CoV-2. Though these results were promising, lab conditions are not the same as inside a living person, which is why we need clinical or human studies. And we do have a few of them now as well. One of them was a small study in France that was looking at the effect of hydroxychloroquine against standard supportive therapy in people with COVID-19. And they were looking at whether taking this drug actually reduced the amount of virus in the nose faster than not taking the drug. And according to this study, apparently it did. But then this study also had a lot of problems, like the very small number of people it was done on. And it also had a lot of unbalanced factors. If you'd like to know the nitty-gritty details of the study, check out the link in the description. Now, unfortunately, when a study has so many gaps, you can't rely on the results because it didn't account for those problems. So before we start saying things like, this could be the biggest game changer in history, we really need more evidence. In fact, a similar sized study in China showed that apparently there was no difference between taking hydroxychloroquine and not taking it when it comes to reducing the amount of virus in the nose. And what's interesting is that a lot of recently published papers actually said that this drug worked in over 100 patients with COVID-19 in China. And the more I searched, the more I was sure that there was no such published data to actually substantiate this claim. Kind of shocking, isn't it? Especially when you consider that all these countries are trying to stock up on this medication with such limited evidence. And I don't know about you, but I have so many questions. Like, what were the effects of the drug on the symptoms of people with COVID-19? Did it reduce the number of deaths? And how do we decide the right dose when all these studies use different doses of the drug? So about 3 days ago, we got the results of another Chinese study with 150 COVID-19 patients. So again, in this study, hydroxychloroquine did not reduce the amount of virus in the nose any sooner. But here they also looked at whether the drug affected the symptoms of COVID-19. And as it turns out, hydroxychloroquine did reduce the symptoms slightly faster than standard treatment. And it also improved the inflammatory molecules in the blood of these patients quicker as well. And this could be a good thing because right now we think that inflammation could worsen the severity of COVID-19. So check out this study in the description as well if you're keen. Anyhow, there's still a lot of things we need to know about this medication for COVID-19, like safety. Even though chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine are generally safe, they can sometimes come with pretty serious side effects, like vision or heart problems. And there's also a very fine line between the right dose for treatment and overdosing. Right now, most countries have allowed the drug for emergency use, which means we can use it in people with COVID-19 who are so sick that they need to get admitted to hospital, and we have nothing else right now that's proven to work. But we still don't have enough evidence to use it for everybody with COVID-19, and we definitely don't have enough to use it to prevent COVID-19. And this is why the National Institutes of Health has started a new clinical trial where over 500 people with COVID-19 will be receiving either hydroxychloroquine or a placebo, and they'll be measuring the clinical outcomes. So they'll be looking at whether this drug affects how much oxygen the person needs or whether they need to go on a ventilator. And hopefully a trial like this will give us a lot more clarity on whether this drug actually works and also the safety of using it in COVID-19. So I guess I want to leave you with this. The problem with rushing to make statements about a miracle drug well before it's proven is that it can lead to really bad decisions, like that husband and wife that drank fish tank cleaning liquid, which apparently contained chloroquine because they heard President Trump say that the drug could be a game changer for COVID-19. The husband actually died from that. So make sure you question every statement that's being made, regardless of where it's coming from, especially in a time like this. You can check out all the studies I've talked about in this video in the links in the description below, and check out my previous videos on COVID-19 as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more informative videos like this one. I'll see you next time.